Hello, I'm Erik Waite, and I'm a certified sommelier with the Court of Master Sommeliers, a French wine scholar at the Wine Scholar Guild, and a certified whiskey ambassador. In a previous video, I already shared with you my visit to St. George Spirits Distillery in Alameda, and I reviewed the single malt whiskey. Now I'm going to be reviewing another single malt whiskey from St. George Spirits. However, rather than sharing with you more photography or video from the distillery, I want to share with you some photography from the San Mateo Japanese Garden. I've done a number of Japanese whiskey reviews, and in each of my videos in which I review a Japanese whiskey, I've shared with you a Japanese garden from around the San Francisco Bay Area. There is a Japanese garden in San Francisco at Golden Gate Park. There's one in Hayward, California, one in San Jose, and one in Saratoga. And there was one more that I had yet to share, which is in San Mateo, California. So I thought this is an excellent opportunity to sort of share a Japanese-American style whiskey. So here we go. Here is my visit to the Japanese garden in San Mateo. St. George Spirits Master Distiller Lance Winters describes the Baller as a California take on the Japanese spin on Scotch whiskey. St. George Spirits makes the Baller single malt whiskey with 100% American barley, predominantly two-row pale malted barley. The remainder is lightly roasted. After distillation in their eau de vie pot stills, the whiskey is aged in used bourbon casks and French oak wine casks, as well as filtered through maple charcoal. They then finished the whiskey in casks that held house-made umishu, a Japanese style of plum liqueur that they made entirely from California-grown umi fruit. The whiskey is bottled at 47% alcohol by volume. Distiller Lance Winters did the art direction for the label, which reimagines the legend of St. George as a samurai warrior. The original watercolor on the front label was by Oakland artist Sylvia Solochek-Walters, created to emulate a woodcut. The calligraphy was done by Erik Takase of Takase Studios. Alrighty, so in my study of wines and whiskeys, I always like to delve into the culture of the wine or whiskey or other spirit. And part of that is getting to other aspects of the culture, including music, art, or in this case, gardening. So all of the Japanese gardens around the San Francisco Bay Area are really beautiful, and I really enjoyed my visit to this one. However, as beautiful as the garden is, and as beautiful as this label is, as we know, what's really important is how is the whiskey. Alrighty, visually, medium intense, sort of a golden copper color on the nose. Whiskey is clean, medium intense aromas. It's not a big intense nose. So pear, melon, apple, a minuscule amount of smoke, a little bit of green tea, hints of spice. There's a slight floral, soapy character. All right, on the palate. Really nice. One more. Delicious. Now, my pattern has become, do I do an uncorking live, which I experience the whiskey from the neck of the bottle, and then I tried a bunch of times and then do a re-review after I've gotten it below the shoulder to see how the whiskey opens up. This time I decided to actually open it and experience off camera before reviewing it. And then I'm gonna do live after this a comparison between a Japanese peated whiskey and this whiskey. So on the palate, this is absolutely delicious. And when I opened the bottle, I hadn't read any notes on its flavor or aromas, and I actually didn't know that it had a little bit of a smoky character to it. On the palate, I get sort of real ripe, juicy, a fruit character to it. Hints of plum, I would say golden pears, a little bit of melon, and a medium intense smoke that is very well integrated with all the fruit flavors. I got a little bit of honey, a little bit of spice, a little bit of green tea. Everything's well balanced. It has a nice evolution. You get a little bit of that fruit up front. The smoke kicks in and actually it begins to increase after you've already swallowed it. So you get a little bit of smoke when you swallowed it, and then as I'm talking now, the smoke just increases. Then I start getting a little bit of pepper notes, a little bit of vanilla and oak. So it has a really nice arc, real nice development, and a real long finish. But one of the most amazing things about this whiskey is, and it really surprised me when I did the uncorking of it, just how silky it is. The texture on this whiskey is really amazing. It has almost like an oily texture to it. It can remind you a little bit of the texture of a lot of Irish whiskeys. So it's real soft, silky, and it just glides across the palate and has real mouth coating. Now the smoke character on this is very different than a lot of other smoky peaty whiskeys. First, the smoke doesn't come from peat. So you're not getting the briny characteristic of Islay. You're not getting the heather characteristics of the Highland, of peated whiskeys you might get from the Highlands. But rather, it's more of a campfire, fireplace sort of a smoke to it. And I really like it. I think it's really tasty. Could this be confused for a Japanese whiskey? Possibly. A Scotch, texturally, I don't find it to be like a Scotch. It almost seems like a smoky Irish whiskey. Now, there is a peated Irish whiskey called Connemara, which is, I find to be, personally, really strange. It's an odd mixture. Not just that it's an Irish whiskey that is unusually smoky, it just seems out of balance. The components don't really integrate really well. I tend to describe it as being like a cat that barks, or like a two-headed dog. You know, just something very odd. This, however, in quite contrast to that, is well balanced. It's delicate. It's silky. It has sort of a seductive character to it. And it has a nice smokiness without the medicinal character that some people, I like it, but some people don't like about some of the Islay whiskeys. Now, how am I going to score it? I'm going to give this a solid 90 points. This is a whiskey I would like to blind my whiskey lover friends on. Have them try it without telling them where it is, what it is, where it's from, and so forth, and just see what they think about it. Now, they call it the baller because highball, which is a cocktail, very popular in Japan, and so this is supposed to be designed to be a component of a highball. But I like it as is. I'm going to try it in a highball off a video, but as it is like this, I think it's a great sipping whiskey with just a hint of smoke and some nice, slightly sweet fruit characteristics to it. And what I find as I'm talking now and the finish sort of lingers is just hints of honey, hints of melon, and just a little bit of smoke. And I think it's sort of the delicate nature of the whiskey, its refinedness, that it's not a punch in the face, as you might expect from an Islay smoky whiskey, that it's that sort of resembles a Japanese whiskey. Alrighty, if you subscribe to this channel, I want to thank you very much. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you would, and share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and other social networking channels. And until next time, cheers.